A Promise, Part 1. Hey, I am Mohit. When I was a child, I spent a lot of time alone. My parents lived in an old house way out in the countryside, and there were no other children my age around. I have a little sister, but she was only a baby at the time, so I couldn't play with her. I was always a little lonely. The old country house where we lived had a lot of small rooms. In the corridor, there was a closet with a sliding door where my father would store his tools. I loved to go in there and play with the tools. It was fun for me at the time. One day I found an old mirror at the back of the closet. It was an oval shape and the bronze frame was very ornate. Even though it was quite old and dusty, the glass was very clear and I could see myself perfectly. One time when I was playing in the closet, I happened to glance at the mirror and saw something that shocked me. In the reflection, I saw a strange girl standing behind me. Frightened, I turned around quickly, but there was nobody there. When I looked back at the mirror, I was confused. The little girl was still there. I guess because I was a child, I wasn't scared of her. I just thought it was strange that she only appeared in the mirror. The little girl had long dark hair and pale white skin. Through the mirror, she looked at me and laughed. Hello, she said. We started talking to each other. The girl told me to call her Neha. We would talk all the time. My parents must have wondered why I spent so much time in the closet talking to myself. But they never took the mirror away from me. It seemed that Neha was not visible to adults. One day, when I was talking to Neha, I said, I am lonely. I wish I had some friends I could play with. Come over here and play with me, Neha said. I can go over there, I asked. How do I do that? Neha's face became troubled. Then she lowered her voice. I don't know, she whispered. I'll ask. I wondered who she was going to ask. But all I could hear was silence. Somehow I felt like whoever it was, they didn't want me to listen. The next day, when I spoke to Neha, she said happily, I know how you can come over here now. Come on, let's play. I was happy, but I remembered that my parents had always warned me that I had to tell them before I went anywhere. Okay, but I'll have to ask my mother, I replied. Neha's face became a little troubled. Again, she said, don't tell anyone about this. We may not be able to meet each other. If you tell someone, I stayed silent because I didn't want to disobey my parents. Then Neha said, so you will come and play with me tomorrow? Okay? Promise? Yeah, I replied reluctantly. I promise. That night I didn't sleep very much. I didn't tell my parents about Neha, but as I lay there in the darkness, questions were swirling around in my head. How would I enter into the mirror? What kind of place was it over there? Why wouldn't Neha come over here? If I went over there, how would I come back over here? As I contemplated such things, I grew more and more anxious. I became a little scared of Neha. The next day, I didn't go to see Neha. I avoided her the day after that and the day after that. I didn't go near the closet all week. In fact, I never went into the closet again. The weeks and the months passed by quickly and I grew older. The months and year passed and I grew up. I left home to go to high school in the town. After I graduated, I started working in a nearby town. I didn't go home very much. Eventually, I met a girl and we got married. By the time I had forgotten all about Neha. Dear friends, do you think the story ends here? Mohit forgot her. Could Neha forget him? Will Mohit's fate reunite him with Neha? There is still a lot of left to know. Watch the second part of the story. To be continued in part 2.